Welcome if you're new, welcome back if you're returning. Today's video is a result of two thrift trips. The first one was a couple of weeks ago when I picked up a whole bunch of material. I'll be using that material today. And then the second one was a couple of weekends ago. I went to Value Village, and then up on the mountain, up on the Niagara Escarpment, there was a little antique fair. It was quite expensive, but it was just really nice because they were proper old antiques. And I picked up a few things from there. So these picture frames, actually, I always pick up the brass picture frames. There were three. None of the pictures were in them. There were three from Value Village, and this was on the drive home for $3.99. The picture inside actually was a postcard that I picked up from the antique fair. So one of the stalls had antique pictures and postcards. I picked up these two pictures, and that little picture of the boy and girl reminded me of a picture I have of my brother and I when we were little. So it's in the 70s. It's not Victorian, but it just reminded me of it because we looked quite miserable in it. But then I did see these postcards. Now, I look out for postcards wherever I go. I like the old ones. I like to put them out for Valentine's and St. Patrick's and little ones like this. I just think it's a nice little touch without going overboard. So I haven't been able to find them anywhere, and if I have found them, they've been really expensive. Well, this one little store had the pictures and postcards, and they were all $2 each. They also had some little books. So I said to the lady, is there a deal to be done? And she goes, yeah, if you get a whole bunch of things, I'll do you a deal. So I had a look through, and I managed to pick up maybe 4 or 5 postcards, all for pertinent dates throughout the year. And I got 2 pictures, a few postcards, and 3 little books, all for $20, which I didn't think was a bad little deal. Now, these postcards are actually from the turn of this century, so they're all from the early 1900s. The books are from 1800s, early 1900s, and the 1930s. So I'm very pleased with a few things that I have, and these will all be going in my curio cabinet makeover, maybe for next week's video, because there's a few things that I want to add in, take away, and just give it a nice new look for the summertime. So I managed to pick up 2 little Christmas postcards, a New Year's postcard, a Valentine's postcard, and a St. Patrick's Day postcard. So I do have a couple that I picked up in the UK last year, so I was really quite pleased with the little display that I will have, and those will go up, as I said, on the pertinent days throughout the year. The rest of the items will be going into the curio cabinet, as I said. So I picked up these 3 little books. They varied in price between sort of $4.50 and $10. So when you add everything together, I got a decent discount. This little one is from the 1880s, I believe, and it's in a terrible state, but it's just so cute, and it's so old. I just thought, even if I just have it in the little cabinet, I might try and do a little bit of a repair on it, but it's just so lovely. I love the green, and I love the thought of where this has been sitting, for hundreds of years. And it's just lovely. This is a little, I remember having these. I remember my grandma having them and playing them when I was little because they were so small. But it's an old address book, and it used to have calendars in it, and it used to have weight conversions. It was all sorts. It was so cute. Of course, you don't have this now because you have your phone. But that was lovely, and I think that was initially $5. So I paid about $2 for everything. And this was lovely. This was supposed to be $4.50. This is from the 1880s. And it's she was going away to school, and this is all the little notes that her friends had sent her. I remember having these when we graduated. Passing it on to all your friends and everyone writing something really lovely. So that's a nice one. Again, this is in a bad state, and I might try and sort of fix it as best I can. But I might just leave it. It's been around for a long time, and it's just so nice to think of, somebody took the time to write these things in their little book. And you know, as I said, people don't generally do this so much anymore, so it's a nice memento, and it's of years gone by and things that, you know, little traditions that people just don't have anymore. So these were the couple of things that I picked up on the drive back. This was from Value Village, and these were lovely Currier and Ives prints, which are always really nicely done. There was about 4 of them, but these were my 2 favourites. This one was a very British scene. I love the colours in this. And then there was this one, which was Long Island Sound. Again, I love the colours in it. There was another one which was more fall colours, and I think it was a very rustic looking one. I think it was a wilderness picture, but it had a bit of damage to it. So I did pick the 2 favourite ones, and those were $7.99 each. And I think those are, well, I'm not sure where they're going to go yet, but I'm going to put them somewhere because I really like these pictures. So all of these items will be added to the curio cabinet. Actually, I'm really looking forward to doing that because I've just been putting stuff in as I've been picking them up, and I'm really looking forward to starting fresh. In the meantime, let's go on to my couch makeover. This is something I've wanted to do for a while. The inspiration I've seen on, well, I saw it actually, the first chair was in a little house in the UK when we were over last year, and it was a vintage couch, and it was all kind of made of different pieces of material. It was a very old traditional couch, but it had all these different materials on it, and I just really loved the look of it. It was very much like this one, and I thought it was kind of a cross between, you know, like a French country, English cottage core, almost boho. So I was dying to do something like this and make a slip cover for my couch, which is great. It's a nice couch. It's not my first choice. We just picked it up because we had to get rid of the last one because it was so bloody uncomfortable. So this is what I decided to use. This is the material. I picked up this material, the green. It was a whole bunch of green velvet. I had this floral that I've had for a couple of years, which had the nice, it had the green in it. It had all the colours I wanted to use. And then I had a whole bunch of this pink velvet as well. The couch is initially red, and I'd made these red velvet pillow covers because I didn't like the pillows that were on the back. So I was going to leave those pillows the red, but I decided not to. But I also had this lovely navy velvet and this beautiful, beautiful green velvet, but they weren't, it was almost the wrong look for what I was going for. It was more of a wintry look with those colours, and I thought with the lighter pastel green and the pinks, it was more of the look that I was going for, the feel, more of a summery look. I also added in the gingham. I have lots of this red and white gingham. If you remember when I did the footstool in the living room, I added that to it, and it's just, I thought it would all tie it all together, and it's just, I thought, perfect country cottage, French country look, which is exactly what I was going for. So let's begin. As I said, I'm not recovering the couch, I'm making slip covers. So what I've done is I've taken the pillows, so I've got 2 big seat pillows, and I've taken the floral fabric and I've measured the width, well, the size of the pillows, and I've given it 1/2 inch over for a seam allowance. And I've done that 4 times, so top and the bottom of the first pillow, top and the bottom of the second pillow. Now this style of couch, when you mix and match fabrics, is perfect for somebody like me who collects pieces of fabric when I find them and I like them. You find you don't have enough to do a whole job, so I rarely have enough to cover a whole couch. I rarely have enough to make 6 sets of curtains, but I can make 2 sets or 4 sets and I can finish half a couch. So this way I thought it'd be a great idea to use all my different fabrics that coordinate together to finish the couch. So this is the panel that's going to join the top and the bottom together, which is the red gingham. So again, I've cut it the width of the band that runs from all the way around the couch seats, with again 1/2 inch seam allowance. Now I didn't have enough. I've had to join pieces together for this, so what I've done is I've taken the longest piece, marked the centre, and that is going to be the centre of the front pillow that shows on the front of the couch. So I've marked it with a pin. You can also mark it with a little notch or a piece of thread, so that you remember that that is going at the front of your couch. So when you join all your materials together, you've got one complete piece of fabric at the front without any joins. The joins can go to the sides and the back where you don't see them. So here we go. Here I've joined the top panel to the middle gingham panel and then the bottom panel. I also make sure that I've marked my centres on all 4 so that I know where my centres are to join all the material together. I hope that makes sense. So the material's sewn together, as you could see before. I pinned it all, then I stitch it with the sewing machine, and then I've left the back panel open so that I can put the slip cover over the pillow. And then all I don't put zips in because it's a lot of work, and to buy a zip that length is going to cost me as much as probably the material did in the first place. So all I do is I use Velcro on occasion, but this one I'm just going to be sewing it by hand all the way across the back to keep it nice and together and tight. And you can see here I've just done a plain blanket stitch all the way along, and it holds it together until I decide to recover or slip cover it again. So that's how easy it is. It's just a quick stitch all the way along. And it's like I said, it's a plain blanket stitch. You can do any stitch you want. You can even do it on the sewing machine if you can fit it in there, but it's a quick fix. So what you're doing with this particular piece is I've got the velvet and I've put it right side into the couch, and then I've cut it roughly the size of the arm. So I've pinned it in place, got it to the length, got it in position, and then I've gone with a pencil and drawn the size of size and the shape of the arm with about 1 inch again for seam allowance, and then I've marked that with my pencil, and then I've cut it out, and then I've come back and pinned it back into place so you can see if it fits properly. And what happens when you join all these together, the left arm inside out fits the right arm, and the right arm inside out fits the left arm, if you understand what I mean. So you're making it inside out where you're pinning it and getting the shapes, and then when you sew it all together and put it the right way around, it all fits properly onto the couch. So I've done the green arms in the velvet. I'm doing a front panel on the front of the couch in the velvet, and then this red piece here is going to be in the floral the same as the seat covers. So again, I'm mixing the materials and I'm sort of coordinating different blocks of colour. So this is I'm just going to pin this on to find the length that I need, mark it with a pencil, cut it, and then I'm going to do that with all the material and join them all together with my sewing machine. So from here at this angle, I've got the couch on its back. This is the front of the arm panel, and you can see the shape of the couch underneath it. So I've laid my fabric face down, and then I've pinned it into place, and I'm going to cut 1/2 inch around, so I've got a seam allowance, and then all of these pieces join together, you pin them together, join them together, and that gives you the front panel of the couch. So that's the first thing that you see. So as you can see here, I've added 2 side panels on the side underneath the arm. So that's the inside of the couch. You can see clearly here what I've done. Everything's pinned into place, and then you join everything together afterwards. So pin and then sew afterwards. It's much easier. And of course I've added my side panels and pin those into place, and then this will all slip on. And what I do then is I add a nice big piece of fabric through the center of the couch and down the back, and you have a slip cover. So I didn't have enough of the green, but I did have a really nice piece of yellow fabric which coordinated with the curtains. It was an old sheet. Having said that, it was a new old sheet that was beautiful fabric, lovely thick cotton, which matches everything. It's quite sturdy, and that is what I have pinned into place as my center panel. Now at a later date, if I find a nice big piece of fabric, I can either add that in or I can replace it, but right for now you really don't see the back panel because it's under the seats and it's underneath the big pillow. So I've kind of just pinned everything in place for now to get it all so it's fit together. It's a very easy finishing touch. Just a reminder, if you enjoy my content, please give me a thumbs up and subscribe. It really helps my channel out. So onto the trim. So all I've done is cut some strips of fabric, joined them together if I had to, cut them all the same width, put a little hem on one side and stitched that. Then I've folded it all over onto itself, and then I'm going to stitch down the center of that. And what that's going to do, it's going to give me a really nice piece of trim that I can add onto my seams, which is a finishing touch to the couch. And because it's in the same fabric as the gingham, it'll contrast with the floral and the green velvet, and it just makes everything come together. It's really easy to do, and it's a perfect addition when you're mixing and matching fabrics. Also, when it came to the pillows, I also added in a piece of trim to that, which was the pink velvet was the main body of the back pillows, and then I just took some of the floral strips, folded it in half and added it in as a little bit of a feature when I sew the pillows together, sorry. So as you can see here, I've got the front and the back of the pillow, and I've just inserted this little piece of trim, stitched it all together, and when you pull it back on itself, it just stands out and give you, again, this then matches with the seat pillows. Just a quick recommendation, I always use lots of pins when I'm sewing. It's perfect to hold everything in place. It's so much easier. I have a lot of very sharp pins, so I recommend that. Also, just to point out, I did 3 sides of the pillows, up the sides, across the top, and left the bottom open, slipped the pillow in and sewed it by hand. Well, here it is, the finished article. I'm pleased with it. It's turned out as well as I had expected it to. The back pillows, the pinks, not quite right, so I might replace them at some point, but for now I'm quite satisfied with them. I've thrown all my original pillows on the couch as well. I just love that comfy look with everything just sort of mismatching. I just think it's turned out really well. This is, you can see that piece of trim that I've made. I made enough to go around both of these panels, and again I think it just ties it all together, and just visually it just looks better. It's a comfy couch, as like I said, it was just the wrong style, and this to me has given it the look of either it's quite it's a cross between, I think, country, English country, a little bit of French country, but it's so soft and comfy with the velvets and the cottons. You can see the bits of trim that I've done on the pillows, and there's the yellow back panel, which you don't see when the couch has got the pillows on it. So all in all, I think it was probably 2 days work. I did it a little bit at a time, a lot of preparation, and then once you sew it all together, it comes together very, very quickly. I wouldn't recommend it for a first time because I've done lots of couches in the past, but if you can sew and you know a little bit about pattern making, I think it's a job that probably most sewers could do. So considering this was just a combination of all the bits of fabric that I have, it's turned out really nicely. I love the pink and the green. That's one of my favourite combinations, and I love the floral and the gingham. I could have done it in the navy blue, but again, I wanted a summery feel. I may redo it in the fall with the green velvet and the navy velvet. I think that might be really pretty as well, but for now I'm really pleased with this summery look of the couch.